This upcoming patch is going to mark the third time the Marvel Snap economy has been reworked. In the beta, we had the Nexus events, and that was a complete fail. So we garbaged that and we moved on to the token shop, which was introduced at the end of November. Now, this is probably how you familiarized yourself with acquiring new cards, right? It's very slow. You have to acquire 6,000 tokens so that you can get that brand new card on release. Well, that's still staying intact, but now we have a new method of acquiring cards in the Spotlight caches. So in this video, I'm going to break down how Spotlight caches work, how they're going to affect the Marvel Snap economy, and whether I think this is an overall net positive for the player base, or if maybe there's some drawbacks that we need to be aware of. All right, so here's how the Spotlight caches work. So every week there's a new Spotlight cache with 4 cards. Those are the potential rewards. There's no additional resources or anything like that. It's straight up just new cards that you do not own. And the only instance that does not happen is if you own all of the cards. Then it'll be these new types of variants, which I'm going to get to in a second, which are pretty exciting, honestly. But here's a quick example, okay? Jean Grey is the new card featured that week. And then the featured Series 4 and 5 cards that Team Second Dinner has selected to be in the caches are null in the Living Tribunal. So those are the 3 cards that are tucked away in these Spotlight caches. The other 25% chance is a random Series 4 or 5 card that you do not actively own. Every single time you open one of these Spotlight caches, it will be one of those 4 rewards. It gets even better. Wait for it. All right, but how do you acquire a Spotlight cache, right? We know what the rewards are, but how do we get them? So a Spotlight cache will replace collector's caches and collector's reserves every 120 collection levels. It's worth noting that it replaces it, so you're essentially missing out what the potential rewards could have been from that reserve, but hey, you're getting a new card, so it doesn't really matter. 120 collection levels equates to 6,000 credits. That's what it's going to take to eventually get a Spotlight cache. So now you are guaranteed a new Series 4 or 5 card every 6,000 credits, which is the equivalent of 1 in every 10 collector's reserves. Just to provide a contrast to how it previously was, you were getting a Series 4 or 5 card, 1 in every 40 for the Series 4, and then 1% chance with no pity timer on the Series 5. That's how much this change is going to affect the economy. Now, of course, you were getting a lot of tokens, and then you could use the tokens in the token shop, and there's a few changes there, but that is essentially the Spotlight caches in a nutshell. And it gets even better. So when you open one of those rewards, let's say you opened up Jean Grey, you got Jean Grey, you're happy about it, you got the new card, but you have another Spotlight cache and you want to open it up and see what you can get. Well, now your odds of getting the other 3 remaining rewards have now increased to 33%. It's not like it's thrown in an extra junk resource or something like that because you already acquired the new card. No. If you open 4 of these Spotlight caches, you will get all 4 of the rewards that are inside. And maybe, you're not too excited about that week's rewards. The new card isn't very exciting for you, but you just acquired a Spotlight cache and you're thinking, well, do I have to open it because I don't want this card? Well, don't worry. You can wait. You can hoard these up for a week that you're really excited about and then open them up repeatedly to guarantee that you get that new card, and as well as maybe some of the featured cards that you've been missing out that you're excited for, which means you can literally narrow it down to just the 1 remaining card and know that the next time you open that Spotlight cache, it's going to be that card that you do not own that you probably want if you end up choosing to open it, which is pretty awesome. If you save 4 Spotlight caches, you will open all 4 Series 4 or 5 cards. Okay, now here's maybe a little bit of a downside to this, okay? And it really only affects the players that have near full collections. So let's say you have a full collection, right? They're going to be replaced with Spotlight variants in a new reward pool. But this is still pretty exciting to me because look at these variants. They're absolute fire. So these are going to be exclusive variants to the Spotlight caches. So that's the only way you can acquire them. You cannot pay for them. You cannot wait for it in your shop. It's only in these Spotlight caches if you have all of the rewards that are being shown that week. So basically you acquire all 4 of those cards that were previously being featured, and then it's going to add a new set of rewards, which is the Spotlight variants. Now, the reason this may be a drawback is, let's say you have a near full collection, you want to acquire that brand new card, but there's only a 25% chance of acquiring it, because if the 2 featured Series 4 and 5 cards you actively own, it's going to be replaced with one of these spotlight variants, which means you could open up a variant, then you could open another card that maybe you don't own, but you wanted that new one. And then it's a little bit more difficult to get the new card of the week compared to before. You just had to save up the tokens and then it was guaranteed. Now, Token Shop isn't going anywhere. That is still going to exist. The amount of tokens we're going to receive from pretty much every resource possible is going to be lowered. All right, so check it out. Here's a couple of graphics that are going to help illustrate the differences between the old and new systems. So this is for a player that is free to play, Series 3 incomplete. Okay, so the average rewards in a month. You get 1 Series 4 card, 9 Series 3 cards, a bunch of other stuff. Okay, now in the new system, you're looking at about 3 to 4 Series 4 or 5 cards, including the newly released stuff of that week. 8 Series 3 cards, and then a bunch of stuff. Now I'm running over the bunch of stuff. There is a huge difference. Look at the difference in tokens, right? 4,000 tokens to 400 tokens, 4,000 credits to 3,700 credits, and then 800 gold to literally 0 gold. I'm going to get to that in a second, but overall, the idea is to get more cards in your hands rather than more resources. When you really look at it though, like a Series 4 or 5 card, you can value at 3,000 to 6,000 tokens. If you're getting 3 of those more compared to the difference in tokens of 4,000 to 400, it clearly eclipses the economic value that you would otherwise get through acquiring tokens. Okay, but what does it look for a Series 3 complete player still free to play with around 50% Series 4 or 5 completion? Well, in the old system, you were getting 1 Series 4 card and then about 5,000 tokens, 800 gold, 4,000 credits. That's in about a month of opening up a bunch of chests, right? Now we're looking at 2 to 3 Series 4 or 5 cards, 1 Spotlight variant, and 1 Premium Mystery variant. A Premium Mystery variant is essentially super rare and rare variants, but not pixels. It's like the pixel-proof variant in the game. Okay, and then you're getting about 720 tokens, 4,000 credits. So a huge drop off in your token acquisition. But again, if we take the value of those Series 4 and 5 cards that you're acquiring and we compare that to the token differential here, it's not even close. Now, maybe you're thinking about, well, I have less agency, I have less control over the cards that I want to acquire. And you might be right in that, but I think that's offset by the fact that you can just hoard some of the Spotlight reserves for a week that you're most interested in and then open them on that week. And it pretty well guarantees you the card that you wanted anyways, plus a few extra cards. So overall, I think this is a win-win. All right, but how are collector's caches and reserves changing? So every 4 collector's caches, you're looking at about 2 Series 3 or below cards, 100 tokens, 1 credit box, which contains 150 or 200 credits, 20%, 8% respectively for those odds. And then every 9 collector's reserves, you're looking at 2 Series 3 cards or below, 100 tokens, credit boxes, which contain 150 to 200 credits, 3 of those, and 3 cosmetics like a title, avatar, or a variant. So what you might have noticed is that gold has been removed. So basically now you can purchase gold or you can get it from the season pass, you can get it from conquest mode, and then it's still a drop in the season pass chests at the end of a season. So it's a little bit more rare, but really you're only using gold now for, I think, variants and bundles. And we're going to see how the bundles are going to change based on these economic changes. Token drops are now 50 instead of 100. That is only for players that are Series 3 complete and would have otherwise opened up a Series 3 card. It's now 50 tokens instead of 100. That is a 50% decrease. That is going to show up quite frequently. But overall, I think tokens, you're not going to need them as much. It's more about credits. I think credits are the more valuable resource. You get a bunch of credits, you get those spotlight caches, and if you want to hold on to them for that week that you need that card, then you do it. And then tokens are now the backup. They're not you don't need the tokens. They're just kind of like you keep hoarding them, you keep waiting, and eventually when you get enough for a brand new card, then bam, you get an extra one for free. All right, so here are some of my concluding thoughts on the economic changes in Marvel Snap here. So I think credits are going to become the most valuable resource because, the best part I think is that progressing in your collection road is actually going to be exciting again. It lost its shine after you exit Series 3. It just becomes impossible to get a new card, so you're just like, whatever, I got a reserve, open it, oh, it's 100 tokens. Oh, it's an avatar. Like, it just didn't really matter. Now you can progress with the goal of getting to one of those spotlight caches, and that's going to be an exciting reward, and I think that's going to feel a lot better. Now, golden tokens are going to be more difficult to accumulate, and that's going to affect us in some unknown, unforecasted ways. Bundles, I don't know how those are going to change, what the prices are going to look like. If it's still going to cost gold, which means we're going to have to purchase gold from the shop or kind of save it up in conquest mode and other means, it's going to be tricky, and they're going to have to probably change it as it progresses. Tokens as well, they're just kind of like this backup resource, so the value of those has completely shifted. But overall, I think this is amazing changes for majority of the player base. It's going to make it so much more accessible to get new cards. It's going to be that much more exciting to see what's coming out the next month because you can actually have a means to acquiring it. And the only downside I can really see is that full collection players are going to suffer. But honestly, I don't really feel bad for those people. I'm one of those included. I'm only missing one card, and that's Silk right now. So like, you know, if it hurts me to help a majority of the player base to make new players more excited about Marvel Snap, I am beyond happy. That's exactly what I wanted, okay? And the only reason it hurts full collection players is because they have less of a chance of getting that new shiny card each week, which honestly isn't that bad. Now, a bigger thing that might affect this is series drops. We've kind of come to know that series drops are a great way to make cards more accessible to players and free to play players. But I think they're going to be much less frequent. I don't know how the cadence that's going to happen here with series drops, and then they're doing this flexible thing where only certain cards are going to drop. I imagine more cards are going to be held hostage in series 4 and 5 because we have a way of acquiring them. So because we can target those cards a little bit easier, it's not so bad that they stay up there. It'll be nice when they drop, but if a few have to stay up there, I think it's okay. It's almost like you can think of it as there's series 5 big bad cards, and I think there's essentially going to be series 4 big bad cards without them ever actually calling those. I'm looking at you, Darkhawk. Okay, there you go. So those are the big changes coming to Marvel Snap in the next patch. So that's going to be June 11th. That's how it's projected. It could change. You never know. But let me know in the comments below how you feel about these economic changes and if you're excited about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.